All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. Now, the other day, I did a video about my 4 PGX books that I'm going to be sending out. Then one of the viewers asked a question about what my opinion was of the CGC controversy, and I gave a full detail of it in that video. It's a 2-hour video, and is going into a bunch of rants and everything, but I don't think a lot of people saw it because, you know, the title was about the 4 books I'm sending to get graded, so I thought I'd do a separate video because more information is coming out, and, you know, I want to give shout-outs to people who are, you know, talking about this stuff. You know, like I said yesterday, Economics in Comics, Swaggle House, and there's a bunch of others that are starting to talk about it, but there are some that are doing some really great digging, and they're finding not one, not two, not three, but many books where either a team of people or one person, we don't know, is supposedly and allegedly, because unless you're there seeing it in person, you don't know 100%. So we cannot assume that it's 100% happening this way. But, you know, as they say, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But they're basically, somebody is taking books and either taking them out of the CGC case, the older cases, and replacing it with another book, sending it into CGC to get reholdered, and selling the books for 3, 4, 5 times what they paid for it by putting a different book in there. Now, I believe it's not the books that they're taking out. I believe it would be much easier to be able to slip out the label. Now, PGX has the label connected to the comic all in one piece. But CGC, CBCS, and even EGS all have separate compartments for their labels. So because the label is going to be much thinner than a comic book, it would be a lot easier to remove the label and not remove the comic, because you would have to spread apart the case wider to get the comic out. So in my opinion, if they are switching anything, they're not switching out the comic, they're switching out the label. Because it's just going to be thinner, which is going to make this easier to do without showing damage to the actual label. Now, there are already, like I predicted, unfortunately, there are channels now that are basically CGC apologists and trying to make it like, oh, it's just a simple mistake, while they have nothing but CGC cases on their walls and on their shelves. So, unfortunately, there are going to be people in this quote-unquote community that are not in touch with reality of what's going on. They are definitely showing some bias, and it's going to destroy the whole comic book community as far as grading comics for the future for everyone. Because people are not going to face facts that, yes, if it was a one-time thing, I could see it as a mistake. Maybe even 2 times. But now there are people, like I said, like Economics and Comics, I'm going to give him great credit for this. He did a lot of investigating and found several different comics on this one eBay account that is allegedly, and I still have to say allegedly, either removing the comic or removing the label, sending it in to get reholstered by CGC. CGC clearly does not check the book and just puts it in a new slab. And right now, as of now, unless somebody tells me differently, CGC has not even responded to this yet. That is a problem. Southern Comic Geek says the same people that bash PGX. Yes, exactly. And this is what I'm talking about, hypocrisy. You cannot bash one company for a situation that ended up not being true, by the way. And I stated that before. Because the person... See, and I'll go through the whole PGX controversy. There was a video years ago, and I even saw the video, where somebody alleged that they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 1 first print, sent it into PGX to get graded. And for some reason, they decided to crack it open. And then, lo and behold, they discover it's not a first print, it's a second print. Now, the camera veers away and is clearly edited. PGX, I speak with Daniel Patterson all the time. I have his personal phone number. He has my personal phone number. We've talked on several occasions. And he told me the situation. PGX was going to sue them because it clearly was edited. The person that made the video took the video down. So let me ask you, if you legitimately had a first print Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book, you cracked it open for whatever reason and discover it's a second print, are you going to delete the video if the company says they're going to sue you? It was legit? They took the video down because they were going to be sued, because that is slander, which could put them in a huge, huge legal issue, because you're basically defaming a company under false pretenses. And when you go to court, there would be a thing called discovery, which means they would be able to review the video and see if there was any actual editing involved. People need to know the law, okay? But there were many people to this day, and that was like 8-9 years ago, and people to this day will criticize PGX. This right now, what's going on with CGC, and CGC is responsible partially for this. And there are already apologists. Why? Because they don't want the value of their CGC comics that they've spent money on to decrease in value, so they're going to be apologists for something that is flat out wrong. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say CGC flat out lied, because we don't know that, and I am not one of those people. Whether I like a company or not, I am going to have the innocent until proven guilty scenario with anyone, because I don't have a bias. But what we do know is CGC has not answered to this yet. They're ignoring it. It is clear that if you send in a PGX book, a CBCS graded book, or an EGS book graded book to CGC to have their company put their slab on it, they will take those out of the slab, whatever grade they are, and they will check it and regrade it if necessary. But what CGC is not doing, and this is how some people, and I can guarantee you, if there's one, there's more, that somebody or somebodies have figured a way to take advantage of what could be basically a loophole. So I'm not going to sit here and say CGC is doing this as a fault. They may never have assumed that somebody would be able to slip out the label. But what needs to happen is CGC needs to come out and say, we are aware of the situation. We see that there are people that have found a loophole in our system. And from now on, even if people send in a book to be reholstered that has already been graded a CGC book, we will take it out of the slab, we will regrade it, and then if it needs an adjustment in grade, we will do so. No, there was not a fire, John. I just put that as a dramatic thumbnail. So no, there was not a fire. So the fact that CGC is not answering to this is alarming. The fact there are YouTube channels trying to be apologetic for CGC and try and give them a pass, because whether they are complicit in this or not is irrelevant if they do nothing once a situation has happened. Because if you found out that you had a bank, you put your money in a bank, and they found out, if you found out and they didn't know that their safe could be opened if you just turned it to the dial of number 1, that you're supposed to add a code into a safe, but for some reason the manufacturer of the safe had a glitch And if you dialed the dial on the safe to 1, it would automatically open. And somebody found out about it, and they would be stealing your money. Now, the bank could say, well, we didn't know about that. But if they don't fix the problem, now they are part of the problem. And if you were a person that had a bank account at that bank, now knowing that loophole, if you found out that the bank tried to ignore the problem or did not change and fix the problem, would you still keep your money in that bank? It would be very unwise to do so. So the fact that CGC is ignoring this now, like I said, if it was one comic on one time, I can understand it as just maybe something that was a mistake by CGC. There have been people now that have shown several books, and this is just from one eBay seller. Are you telling me there's nobody else out there that's tried to do something like this? Take advantage of people, being a thief? And there's a simple solution. And somebody else also made a very good recommendation. I don't remember who said it, so if you watch this, please post it in the comments section. Where what they should do is not only put the serial number for each graded comic, but they should put the same serial number in the inner welling inside where the comic book is. So they have to match. There are very simple solutions. Ignoring them is not one of them. Hoping this will go away. Because unfortunately, there will be people that care more about the value of their CGC comics than what this will do to ultimately destroy the comic book community, which will inevitably destroy the value of their comics anyway. This is a can of worms that has been opened, and the worms are all escaping at this point. The apologists and the people making excuses are being very hypocritical right now. And I'm not loving this, because I have CGC books, I have EGS books, I have PGX books, I have CBCS. I use all the grading companies. So if it ends up that CGC was complicit, which I don't believe they are, or at the very least, choose to not fix the problem, because what they should do from now on is, if anybody sends in a book to be put in a new case, it should get a new serial number and be regraded. Because let's just say there is an honest person, let's just say they had an old labeled CGC Wolverine #1 limited series at a 9.8. But when they had it, they moved out of state to another state. And in the process of moving, the box that book was in was shaken so much that, let's say, a corner got dinged on that 9.8. They didn't do it on purpose. They may not have realized that it happened. And they send that book in when they finally move, and they say, you know what? I like the new CGC holders. I want to send in my 9.8 Wolverine #1 limited series book to CGC to have them reholster it, to reholder it. Because of that damage, even though it was a 9.8, it is no longer a 9.8. So if CGC just takes a book out of an old slab and puts it in a new slab and keeps the same grade, that right there is a problem. And you're telling me when people say, oh, it's just a coincidence, you're telling me with the Mark Jewelers variant, if somebody legitimately said they missed it, are you telling me when CGC says they have 3 different people inspect each and every book, you're telling me 3 professional graders missed a Mark Jewelers variant? Are you kidding me? Considering it is in the centerfold of the book, it is clear as day different from the rest of the comic, it is made of a cardboard-like paper. You're telling me 3 individual people that checked the books missed out that something was a not only a newsstand, but a Mark Jewelers variant. I find that either incompetence or somebody's up to something that's dishonest. But here's the thing. The longer CGC ignores this, the bigger the controversy will be. And then people will start pointing fingers. Well, why aren't they saying anything? Maybe there is more to it than people think. Maybe they are involved. And I'm not saying they are. But the longer they deny it by trying to ignore it, thinking it's going to go away, the more people that are going to start to shout and be angry. And the people making videos with their CGC cases all across the wall saying, oh, well, it's just a mistake. You are not being genuine, and you are telling people you care more about the value of your CGC comics than you do the ethics of the situation. Because it is an easy fix. If CGC legitimately did not know about this, and they sure as heck could not have known, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, they can now turn around and be the good guys and the saviors and say, we hear the situation. It's an unfortunate situation that we were unaware of. We appreciate people bringing this to our attention. And from this day forward, any books that are sent to CGC, whether they're being graded, regraded, or placed into a new holder, we are going to take them out, we are going to regrade them, and if there is an adjustment in the grade, it will be done. We will no longer just take a book out of an old slab and put it into a new slab without checking the book. And that would fix the problem. That would make them look like the good guys, wouldn't it? But they haven't done that yet. They haven't said anything yet. So that makes people angrier and angrier. And if they think this is going to go away, they're going to destroy their reputation. And then all of those CGC apologists who care more about their money than they are of integrity will ultimately lose all value of those books because no one will trust that company enough to buy from them. So CGC needs to step up to the plate and come out of this a savior. And like I said, they could 100% innocent in this. I am not pointing fingers. Like I said, I have issues with CGC because I know a lot of things that they do are dishonest and people just give them pass after pass. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, CGC is evil, CGC is wrong, they're complicit. No, I am giving them the 100% benefit of the doubt that they may not have known about this and somebody found a loophole to be dishonest and be a criminal because they are literally stealing thousands of dollars from people. CGC could come out looking as the hero and saying, we have seen this problem. We are now going to address it. We were unaware of it. We thank the community for bringing it to our attention. And from this day forward, CGC will no longer just reholder a comic, even if it was graded by our own company. From now on, we are going to verify that it is what it says it is on the label. And if it needs an adjustment in grade, we will do so. That would instill confidence. That would make CGC come out to be the good guys. So I ask all of the CGC apologists, why aren't they doing that? Why am I the one, so far, the only one that has said that? There are people doing great jobs discovering the problem. But they're not really saying why CGC is now part of this problem, whether they want to be in it, whether they knew about it or not. At this point, it is irrelevant. And this is why I get upset with a lot of the comic book quote-unquote community, is they had no problem bashing the PGX scenario, even though I've already said in the beginning of this video and the one from yesterday that it may not have even been a true statement about PGX. And I've already explained why. This one is showing not one situation, not two situations, not three situations, but as of now, 4 of them confirmed that are different books. And like I said, if you're going to try and crack open a slab and be a piece of garbage and a thief, you have 2 choices when it comes to CGC slabs. You can try and take out the book, or you can try and take out the label. And because the label is going to be extremely thinner than the book, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to stretch apart the case to be able to pull out that label and put in another one. Then send it back to CGC saying, oh, you missed something, or I want just a new holder. And like I said, I can understand somebody saying, well, I have a 9.8 and I just want a newer label. But if you're saying you missed, if CGC supposedly missed and I can't believe no one's even saying this. I'm the only one, the one that most of the community hates. I'm going to be the only one to say it. That let's assume that Amazing Spider-Man 252 newsstand variant, and the person, let's just say, saw from looking at the top of the book that it's actually a Mark Jewelers variant. That would mean that CGC graded that book, if it was legit, and not one inspector of the comic, not two inspectors of the comic, but all three of them who graded that book all missed a Mark Jewelers variant and just labeled it as a newsstand. The only way that would be possible is, one, they hire people who don't know what they're doing. Two, they hire blind people that grade books via Braille, which you'd probably still be able to discover that there was a Mark Jewelers variant because it's a different piece of paper in the centerfold of the book. Or three, somebody missed it on purpose. But no one wants to talk about that. Why? Because there are a lot of people out there that count and rely on CGC graded books for them to make the top dollar of their businesses and livelihoods. And I keep saying to people, if you care more about money than your integrity, eventually it's going to smack you in the face. And it's going to do more damage to you in the long run. Because if this continues where CGC says nothing, and nothing gets fixed, and more people make videos making them out to be the good guys, and oh, they're just the victims here, eventually the community is going to walk away and say, I don't trust grading from any company anymore. And your books are not going to be able to be sold, and they will not get the top dollars that you used to be so happy about. People are penny wise and dollar foolish. And here I am. I can guarantee you I am the only channel that is brave enough to be able to talk about the reality of the situation and still give CGC the benefit of the doubt that they were unaware of this, and actually showing and telling them what they can say to come out the hero. Let's see how long before they do it. But people are going to keep hating on me for some reason because it's easy. Because I am not a person that will mislead my viewers for my own personal profit and own personal gain. And that is why my channel will never reach high amounts of views. I will never make money off of my channel. 3 people were kind enough to do super chats the other day, and I thought that was awesome, but I don't try and mislead people to try and get people's money. I think it's disgusting. And somebody out there, or somebodies out there, that are exchanging either the label or the comic to be able to mislead people so they can make money, they are the biggest pieces of dog crap out there. They are human scum. And people should be reporting that eBay scammer auction site to eBay and getting them off there so they do not destroy people's lives. Because what if that person spent $15,000, I think it was $13,000 on that Amazing Spider-Man, and they had all of the money they had and they took a chance on an investment only to find out ultimately that it's not what they claimed it to be? And trust me, I know what that's like. Because when I first got into some collecting, I bought what I thought was a Babe Ruth signed baseball card and a Michael Jordan rookie card that I bought on Yahoo Auctions. If you're old like me, you know what Yahoo Auctions was. This was before eBay was a thing. And I ended up going to a convention to get them graded, and or at least check their value, and I found out both the Babe Ruth baseball and the Michael Jordan rookie card were both fakes. I lost $8,000 that day. So I know what it's like to purchase something from somebody, and I remember that Babe Ruth baseball. I remember talking to the person online, and they said, oh, it was handed down by my grandfather, and it's been on our family all our lives. There are people who will put on a good show to lie to you with a smile on their face. And I lost $8,000, which ultimately ended up, I had to put in a second mortgage on my house at one point, because a little bit later I lost one of my jobs and lost everything. And all the money I invested in those to try and keep myself afloat and survive this world was taken away from me by two criminals. And what people are doing is disgusting. And you're not helping if you're trying to pat CGC on the back and say they're not complicit. Because at this point, I can guarantee you, with all the pages of the CGC website talking about this and all the videos talking about it, if you don't think CGC at this point is aware of it, then they either have their heads so far up their butts that they don't want to know, there's something that they're trying to hide, or they think it's just going to go away, is not making them look good. So if you want to apologize and make excuses for CGC, that's great. And yes, there are scammers in the world. It is a fact of life, Kelly Fortune. That's why we needed CGC. Okay, so why is CGC not stepping up to the plate at this point? If they had nothing to do with it, like I said, they could come out the hero and say, we did not know about this as a possibility. We're going to fix the problem. Maybe they'll put a tighter seal around it, or maybe they'll make it so there's a little bit of less chance of being able to pull it apart. If they have from now on any re-slabbed book have to be regraded, they could fix the problem, but they have yet to do so. And the longer they ignore it, the more fuel they are adding to the fire that maybe they didn't start. I am not here saying CGC did this, but CGC has to address it, and they have to fix the issue that they may not have known about. The longer they wait and the longer they ignore this, the more people are going to leave this community. And all of the people that were relying on selling comics to earn a living are going to get less and less opportunity and less money. So they need to stop apologizing and make excuses and say, CGC, you need to step up to the plate and you need to address this problem, even if you didn't cause it. Because there are people who found a loophole to make thousands and thousands of dollars by stealing and taking advantage of a situation that you now have to fix. So I'll say it for the 50th time. I do not believe CGC was the problem with this. I believe some scumbags found a loophole to be able to, what I believe is happening, is being able to remove the label from the CGC old labels, placing it into another lower valued comic to make it seem a higher grade than it is, or like in the case of that Hulk 181, which, by the way, they found more than one of them that did this, where they took one that had a page 10 missing, which made it incomplete, found a lower grade Hulk, and just switched the labels, sent in the one with the old label with the higher grade complete with the missing page book in there to be reholdered, and CGC does not regrade the book. They just put it in a new holder. Once they say, from now on, all books have to be regraded, that fixes the problem. If they say, we're going to put a serial number not only on the label, but on the inner welling of the comic book itself, so if those numbers do not match, that has been switched. These are simple solutions. Why can I come up with these? Why can my subscribers come up with these? But the company that's in question now cannot. and has not said anything. And to the people on YouTube that are making videos with their CGC books on the walls, who have clearly said no matter what CGC does, you're going to continue to use them without question, you are causing part of the problem now. Because you're not manning up and saying wrong is wrong and this needs to be fixed. You cannot point out the problem and not explain the solution. Why is it I can do that? And my channel right now is getting 17 views while others are getting thousands of views, which means my message is hardly going to get out there, and I'm going to be hated on regardless, because people want to hate people that actually stand up for principles and could ruin somebody's potential of making money. You know, there are plenty of people out there that will take lots of money to murder somebody. That's not earning a living. That's not righteous. But you can make a crap ton of money if you want to be a scumbag that murdered people. You want to be a prostitute? You can make a lot of money selling your body, doing disgusting things with people you'd probably never talk to in broad daylight. You can make a lot of money. You can work for governments throughout the world that'll take handout after handout and have laws not passed or laws unfair or get inside information on stocks so you can make a crap ton of money. Doesn't make it right. There's a reason why, especially in this country, and I would say pretty much mostly around the world, that things are in shambles, because there are people that are willing to take money to do the wrong thing just as long as they profit from it. But the one thing that will always be true is eventually those people who look the other way so they can line their pockets with enough paper friggin' coins, paper coins, that makes no sense, the paper currency, that eventually it gets taken away from them and their reputation is so destroyed they will never be able to do it again. So if you want to be a criminal, by all means, you can make a lot of money. If you want to look the other way so you can make some profit as long as you can by being dishonest and not speaking the truth, by all means, go right ahead. And you could see me here. I've said on many occasions, I am not a CGC lover, but I respect the fact that they were number one. I know some of the things that they've done that is shady. There is no way they can have 3 different people check each book with the thousands upon thousands of books they get on a daily basis and be able to get books back to you within a year, let alone 5 months. It's mathematically impossible, but people don't want to see it because they can make money. And people, CGC, like all companies, they can make legitimate mistakes. So I'm not sitting here saying that no company cannot just make a simple mistake. But when it happens several times, at the very least, somebody finds a loophole that needs to be filled in. But this is going to make a huge backlash in this comic book community, and you're going to be able to tell which channels that you may like, that may be popular, that may say what you want to hear. You're going to see the ones that really are showing their cards, that they care more about the value of their collection than the integrity of the community as its whole. I care more about the community in its whole, and this needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed. And I cannot stress enough, I am not sitting here blaming CGC. But the longer they stay silent and the longer they don't fix the problem, which I've come up with some very easy solutions, and they can come out to be the hero, the longer they wait, the more distrust and the more people that are going to walk away. And all of those people that tried to apologize for this are going to see their income decline, decline, decline. And everybody gets hurt. But like I've said before, by their deeds you shall know them, not by their words. So many people throughout YouTube and throughout the world talk a good game. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. CGC needs to address this quickly. And to the scumbags who have done this, I hope you get what you deserve. I hope the authorities are involved, because they are literally stealing thousands of dollars from people. It is fraud. I hope they go to prison, where they deserve to be. So I'm not blaming CGC. I'm blaming the scumbags who found the loophole. What I will say is, now that CGC should be aware of this at this point, if they do not address it and fix those loopholes, then they become part of the problem. And sadly, I have not heard another channel mention anything like this at all. They are pointing out the mistake. There are some that are doing some incredible research, but I have yet to see any video of people saying what I'm saying right now. How do you fix the problem? And saying that even though CGC may not have caused the problem, they are now responsible because they are the creators of the slabs that somebody found a loophole. They need to fix that loophole. And if they ignore it, what does that say about their credibility? What does it say about what they care about the people? You want to be human beings or you want to be cattle? So, the longer they stay silent, the more damage is going to be caused. The more people make YouTube videos apologizing for them and making excuses for them, the more people are going to leave the community. The less people are going to trust any grading company. You think that's going to help people make money or hurt people from making money? The ability to process information in this world from people I listen to and I've heard videos from is astounding to me at this point. And out of the 23 people that are watching, 9 of you were kind enough to hit the like button, which means very few of the people listening even agree with what I've been saying. Now, some people legitimately may not care about hitting like buttons, and that's fine. Some may not have thought about it, and that's fine. But you don't see thousands of views. You won't see thousands of views on my video, because I'm not popular. I don't do this for popularity. Right is right. You ever wonder why the masses all think in a certain way, and it's always 1 or 2 people that change the world? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for hundreds of years, the church led the people to believe that the world was flat. And to the point where if you criticized it, you would be imprisoned or executed. So what the heck do the masses know? The masses do nothing but follow. They don't research. They follow. They do what they're told. They're good sheep. You want to listen to the masses out there who do nothing but follow what they're told to do and believe what they're told to believe? By all means, please do. Because the people that will stand up for what's right will be the smaller group. They will be the minority. They will be the few, but they will be the righteous. They will be the right ones. Galileo challenged the church and said that the sun does not revolve around the earth, and he was imprisoned for that until he died. I wonder how many of you know about that. So it's very easy for the masses to just dismiss this, that are investing loads of money and time and effort into their CGC graded books. That tells you that they are not doing this out of righteousness. They're doing it out of fear. Fear of losing what they invested. I'm not afraid to lose money if it's something that is corrupt. But there are people showing their true colors. Yeah, unfortunately. So nobody talks about Gotham City Comics. Says no one talks about comics for popularity. You could literally talk about any other subject and get more views, even underwater basket weaving. Sadly, I'm sure that's a thing. And if it's not, somebody make a video about underwater basket weaving, you probably make 5 million views. You notice why TikTok is so popular these days? Because you can literally act like an idiot and get millions of people to watch you. It's like dangling keys in front of a baby. A baby will laugh at keys being dangled in front of them. Why? They do not have the intellect to understand anything of value. I've never had a TikTok account. I never will have a TikTok account. And I will never watch a TikTok video. Because I am not a person who's amused by dangling keys. I like intellectual situations. I like learning about quantum physics, quantum mechanics. I like learning about what's truly happening within the government. I like knowing the difference between fiat currency and money. I've learned lots of things in my lifetime. Many people, it's easier to look the other way than think, well, that ship over there is sinking, but my ship is afloat, so I don't want to risk getting hurt or getting wet or getting cold trying to save them. It sucks for them to go down. Until they find out that all the other boats around that sank, that they didn't help, are no longer there to help you when your boat goes down. And John says, thank you for standing up for what is the right thing. You're very welcome, because like I said, this is only going to hurt the community if CGC doesn't fix the problem. I can say, and I don't have any proof, but I can say CGC did nothing wrong and somebody else found a loophole, but now they need to fix that loophole, and if they don't do it and they don't address it, they become part of the problem. Unfortunately, there are some who care more about money than they do principle, and it's going to be very self-evident at this point. And it's going to divide the community even more. You know how many thumbs down I'm going to get for saying what most people are afraid to say because they don't want to lose their money? Why do you think banks? Did you know the Vatican got shut down, I think in either 2011 or 2012, somewhere in that area, because they found out that drug dealers were smuggling money through the Vatican, and they had to shut down the credit card situation through the Vatican for corruption. If it can happen in the Vatican, it can happen anywhere, where people will have offshore accounts. Do you think they have offshore accounts because they like having to travel to get their money? Or you think they're trying to hide from something and be dishonest? It's kind of hard to tax big companies when they hide all their money overseas, out of the jurisdiction of the U.S. government. So people can be very shady. But that's what ultimately destroys the confidence in everything. You could look at a video of anything these days where you see a title, "You've been lied to about this. This is wrong. You've been misled by this." And one by one we find out all the things that people were thinking was the end-all, the be-all truth ends up being a lie. Yeah, you're right about that. They do keep going and going. Well, because money equals power. You know, there was a Rothschild, I forget the name of the Rothschild, but it said, "Give me control of a nation's currency, and I care not who makes her laws." In other words, it ain't government that runs a country. It's who donates the most money, who has control of the currency. And then when people ignore it, as long as they're getting theirs, as long as they're making their money, they look the other way until everything collapses, and everybody, including those people that look the other way, get the pain that they deserve. So, if people want to pretend like this is no big deal, then why the heck are you saying stuff about companies like PGX? Because this is far worse. And I'm not blaming CGC. I'm blaming the scumbags who found this loophole and took advantage of it. There's a saying that I live by. Just because you can does not mean you should. Many of us now know that if you take an old CGC case and you're extremely careful, and you could probably find videos of some scumbag who'll teach you how to do it, you could probably remove the label, put it in another older CGC book for a lower grade or a qualified book or a purple labeled book, and send it into CGC, and they will reholder it with that same label, and you have now tricked people and stolen their money by lying to them. And yet, I bet many of you will never do it. I sure won't. I know now it's possible. I wouldn't do it. Why? Because it's wrong. It's disgusting. And these people need to be put in jail. But like I said, CGC needs to address the situation and say, we are under control, we value our people, we value our customers, and we want to make sure that this problem that we were unaware of is now fixed and it can no longer happen. That would make CGC look like the good guys. And say, from now on, if anybody sends in a book to be reholdered, it will be regraded. It will get new serial numbers, and we will add a matching serial number inside the well of the comic. So this way you can see that the outer layer in the label and the inner layer has the same serial number. They do that, they're heroes. They restore confidence. But they haven't done that yet. They haven't addressed it yet. That is a problem. And like I said, I have several CGC books that are very valuable. So I'm not just sitting here saying, oh, well, you only deal with PGX, so no wonder why you hate them. Nope. Just look at my auction that I did just last week. There were about 3 or 4 books from CGC I was selling. I have many CGC books that I have currently. I probably have at least 100 CGC graded books. And this will hurt my CGC graded books from all of this. So I have something to lose as well. But I also diversify, because that's one thing I've learned about investments. You don't invest by putting all of your currency into one basket. You diversify. So all the people that chose to only use CGC as their means of finances, I hope you hitched your horse to the right wagon, because right now that wagon is on fire. This is going to only get worse if people ignore it or apologize for it. I will do neither. So I want to thank the 20 people that watched, and all of the people that commented, and the 14 people that were kind enough to hit the like button. I guarantee you my video will not go viral. It will not be supported. And even if I watch somebody's video and I don't like them, if they said the right thing, then I will give them the credit for saying or doing the right thing. But many people will not return that favor because they have their bias in full set. It's sad. You know, evil thrives when good people do nothing. This will get worse before it gets better if CGC doesn't put out the fire. As you can see in the AI art that I put, there's only a small fire in CGC. It could easily be put out. You ignore it, that building goes up in flames and the whole thing is destroyed. So that's why I put not a huge burning building, but a little bit of the corner of a CGC building on fire. Because that's where it is right now. Ignore that fire, and you will destroy everything that you built. People need to learn about this. Cole for me says, I'm not apologizing for CGC, but trying to be reasonable, knowing they may not have all the details yet. You're absolutely right. I said the same thing in this video about 5 times. I'm not saying they are responsible. But what I'm saying at this point, if they are not well aware of this, they're not paying attention. So they know about this right now, and they're choosing to stay silent. Now they have included themselves into the situation when they could have easily just addressed it and said, we're going to fix the problem. They could easily have plausible deniability. They can say, we did not know about this. We appreciate our viewers and our fans and our customers pointing out a loophole that we were not aware of. And we are now going to fix it so it no longer can be continued. And they would be the saviors, the heroes, and they would cause this controversy to go away. And they could even say something like, since we see it is coming from one particular eBay seller, we're going to have a criminal investigation. They have done none of this. So I'm not saying CGC is responsible, but they are not out of the woods on this, and they are not going to have this just blow over. There's like you see in the image before you, there's a small fire. They could put it out, and they could fix the little bit of damage. But if they ignore it, that whole building's going up in flames. So all the people who collect CGC, and they need that 9.8, and they'll take a 9.6 and send it in and send it in and send it in. And I have many videos that I've watched of YouTubers that say, oh, well, I got a 9.6. I'll just keep sending it in until it gets a 9.8. There are people on video that say that. To all of you people out there that do that, you are clearly biased to CGC because you care only about the dollar value. And if you do not say the things that I'm saying in your own way, and you just try and ignore it, thinking it'll go away, watch the value of your books disappear. So yes, a fire in a house is bad. But a fire engulfing and destroying your entire house is a lot worse. They need to put the fire out while there's still damage that could be repaired. Every day they ignore this, that fire grows wider and becomes more destructive. So keep staying silent, most people. Keep apologizing, keep making excuses. Because it is irrelevant if CGC knew about the problem. It is irrelevant that CGC may not have been involved in it at all. They are now involved because it is their product that somebody found a loophole in. If you have a car and the car needs to be recalled because a car just decides to overheat and burn up, the car company did not build the car to purposely burn people. But if they find out that a component in their car that they made overheats and causes fires, and it causes it to be so bad that they need to recall the cars, they are responsible to fix the problem, even if it was not malevolent or intention. So I'm not saying CGC is intentional here, but their product has caused damage to the investment community. Because if you're buying a comic because you love it, you wouldn't care. But I don't think anybody, even if you bought a comic just because you loved how pretty it looked, I doubt anybody would want to spend $13 on a book they could have bought for $3,000 if it was what it was supposed to be. Unless you're just that rich, you don't care. I have a feeling most of us are not at that level yet. So I challenge some of you to challenge some of the other channels out there that have all the CGC books on their wall and talk about how they will always use CGC. Ask them why they're being silent. Ask why they're not saying why CGC is not responding. What do you think is going to happen to the value of their comics? Are they caring about the money, or are they caring about the integrity? CGC can fix this, and right now they choose not to. We'll see what happens at this point. Thank you to 14 people that hit the like button, the 19 that stuck around, all of the people that were in the comments section. Unfortunately, my voice is barely going to be heard in this community. I have been labeled as somebody not to trust. I don't know what I've done to earn this. I have haters. But I ask anybody to listen to what I had to say and tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm being misleading. Tell me where I'm being unfair. You can't. And if you are, you just flat out being a hater at that point. Because I am giving CGC the benefit of the doubt. I've given them the way that they can come out looking like the good guys. So I'm not here trying to trash them. Call for me. You're being ridiculous at this point. Says, so CGC is supposed to be made all of these big distractions based on a YouTube video. They need time to investigate. I understand that, but they need to say something. They need to say to the public, we understand what's going on. We are now currently investigating. They are saying nothing. That is not the way to do it. Call for me. If you bought a car, let's say you bought, I'm not going to use the real name. Let's say there is a car company called Bob's Automobiles. Okay? You bought a brand new Bob automobile. And you drive the car, and you drive 65 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you smell smoke, and the car sets itself on fire. And you found out that a component that Bob's automobile was putting in the car was malfunctioning, and they were not aware of it, so they didn't do it on purpose. And that problemed piece caused your car to set on fire. Are you going to sit there and be dismissive and say, oh, well, they didn't know. They're going to investigate. Or are you going to want your money back? Or are you going to be incredibly mad if your family burnt into flames? The car company is responsible whether they did it on purpose or whether they did not know. Once the situation becomes aware, the responsible and right thing to do is address it immediately. So, yes, I agree they should investigate it, but they need to tell people that they're at least doing that. So, call for tune. I'm starting with some of the things you're saying. I'm starting to question whether you are being fair enough. I think I've been very fair to CGC. Okay, so call for tune. Go make your own video. If you think, I am well aware that investigations take time. You're apparently not going to listen. You're making excuses. So if your car was set on fire and it happened to be on Christmas, you're going to be, oh, well, it's the holidays. Don't worry. It's okay. The holidays are more important than the fact that my car went up in flames due to a piece that you overlooked. Don't worry about your responsibility. Investigations take time. Has CGC, and this is the last thing I'm going to say to you, Call for Tune, has CGC made a public announcement saying they are aware of the situation and they are currently investigating it? If they did, show me, post a link right here, and I will share it to everybody. So, I'm not a moron. I'm well aware of things when it comes to law and how things work. Trust me on this. The fact that they are not even making statements publicly is something you should be concerned about. The holidays don't mean shit. That's a BS response. Okay, I'm going to end the conversation at this point. You are free to think any way you want with your 20 years of experience. Okay? I'm not saying they have to fix the problem this second, but they do need to address it. If you have 20 years worth of experience with companies doing this, when they find out there's a problem, whether they are responsible or not, is ignoring the problem and not responding to their customers a good or a bad thing? If they want to investigate, why aren't they telling people, we hear the situation, we are now currently looking into it, we will get back to you as soon as we can? You don't want to hear them say, well, we're aware of it, but, it's Christmas time, so we're not going to bother looking into it until after the holidays. Or saying nothing at all. Which, as of now, they have done just that. Said nothing at all. That is not making them look good. And I will say it now for the 100th time. I do not believe they had anything that they did that was wrong. Some idiot, criminal, scumbag found a loophole in their product. But they are ultimately responsible for their product. If you don't understand that, then I can't help you. At this point, I'm going to thank the very few people that watched my video. Whether you share it or not, whatever you do with it is not... I'm not here to profit off of this. I am going to be affected just like everybody else. This is not a good look for CGC. By saying nothing, they're making it worse, Call for Tune. You don't seem to understand that. And I'm questioning your 20 years of experience if you cannot understand that not even talking about it at all is not making them look better. I guarantee you, many people will agree with me on that. I am well aware that they need to look into this, and they absolutely should look into it. It is a very simple fix. Whether this was... Let's just say the whole thing was a scam hoax, and none of this happened. The fact that it's possible now should make them want to rethink the way they just rehold their comics. Because like I said, you can have somebody that had a 9.8 book, and for some reason that holder got damaged. So let me tell you, if you had a CGC 9.8 book, and you had a hurricane, and there was a flood in your house, and that CGC 9.8 gets water damage, you're telling me it's still a 9.8? So even if somebody didn't purposely change a label or change a book can get damaged. So what they need to do is, every book that comes in to get reholdered needs to be checked for their grade and authenticity. Problem solved, even if everything else is 100% fake. So let's go to that extreme scenario. That let's just say all the other YouTubers lied and made up a story that was not true. Or they found out it was a lie and they didn't do anything wrong. Let's say nobody switched any labels, nobody switched any books, and it's a 100% fraud. The fact that people now can see that as a possibility means that CGC should stop the bleeding before it starts. And if they say nothing, that is not a good look. If you were married and you asked if you thought your husband or wife was cheating, and you asked them if they were cheating and they responded with silence, would that make you feel more confident or less confident in them? Because if you did not cheat and you were accused of being a cheater, you're going to deny it right away. You're not going to just not answer the question. You're not going to make excuses. Because people that do the right thing, when accused of doing the wrong thing, are going to stand up for themselves. The ones that do the wrong thing are the ones that tend to make excuses, or the ones that remain silent. So again, CGC, this whole thing could be a sham. It could be a lie to get views. It could be a whole fake thing. And it would be irrelevant because of the possibility that somebody could do it means they need to address it. So an investigation is actually unnecessary because even if it was 100% fake, they could still prevent it from ever even happening by fixing the problem before it became one. And why am I the only one that's brave enough to talk about it? I hope others step up to the plate. And I'm not going to criticize anybody that did the great investigation work there, because without them, none of this would have came out. I didn't see it. I'm not going to take credit for any of that. The The longer this goes on, the more problems it's going to lead to, and all the people that are going to make excuses just because they're afraid to lose money is going to end up going to lose more money than if they would have said something in the beginning. CGC needs to step up to the plate. They need to, at the very least, tell people they're investigating the situation. But what they should do is fix the problem so it doesn't and cannot happen again. And if they don't, that should tell you everything you need to know about that company and the people who use that company. By their deeds you shall know them. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I hope you will leave some comments. I hope you will share this video, because obviously it's not going to get out to the masses. And you need to have other people in the quote-unquote community step up to the plate and do what's right. Have a great day. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it's We Love Comics and the honest people who collect them